Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F1. We are here for Season 16, Round 8 of the Championship as we take in the streets of Singapore at the Singaporean Grand Prix. Of course, good evening everyone, I am James Head, going to be taking you through the action here tonight, and as well, I would say as always, I'm joined by Kieran McGinley, but he is not here this week, so Kieran McGinley has taken a week's break. So you're going to be stuck with me for the night on a solo commentary, but that doesn't mean to say we can't have a bit of fun while we go along as well. Of course, reviewing what happened last week in Belgium, it was Calsper on his debut taking the win from Recon in second, who was our new championship leader, and Toxic in third last time around in Belgium. Of course, that race was rescheduled. Looking at some of the statistics so far from this season, pretty much the only driver that has won 2 races this season is Navy. We've had Recon, Dilwarren, Carlsbury, and Recon, has won 2 races as well, and now Calsper only winning 1 race respectively. So it is still all to play for in the standings. Calsper got driver of the day last week in Belgium, and it's Recon then who takes the lead of the championship coming into tonight, and it is the biggest gap of the lead that we've had in the championship so far. It's 25 points the gap. Recon on 105 leading the way from Dilwarren in second on 80 points. Carlsbury in third on 78 and Navy in fourth on 74. Still very, very consistent leads, guys, and very consistently they're only 31 points separating first to fourth. Spike in 5th on 45, with Tor in 6th on 35. King J and Lighty, respectively, the 2 Hassers, are 33 and 32 points respectively. They're in 7th and 8th. Calsper, after his win in Belgium last time out, he's on 25 points, and Mashiro is in 10th on 24 points. Sean is in 11th on 24 as well, with Toxic in 12th, the reserve on 16 points. Key in 13th on 14. We've got a tie for 14th between the Gort and Cass, they're on 12 points respectively. Maze is in 16th on 6, Jeffrey is in 17th on 3, and Vitinho, Conti and Esgrim yet to score any points so far this season. We have got a couple of changes to the lineups from last week as well. We have now got full-time Mercedes driver in, so Chaos, who is part of the Nexus Esports team, is in. He is in the Mercedes, and a very familiar face to my commentaries last season of League of Europe, ILRT Rafa, the German, is here to fill in for the Red Bull. I do believe he might be filling in for the space that was left available earlier on in the season. Constructors, by the way, Ferrari on 123 leading the way, from Racing Point in second on 112, Alfa Romeo on third on 102. 19 points separating the top 3 constructors. McLaren in 4th on 74, with Red Bull in 5th on 66, Haas is in 6th on 65, Toro Rosso in 7th on 52, Mercedes in 8th on 50, Renault in 9th on 45, and Williams in 10th on 36 points respectively. Now we are here, of course, at the streets of Singapore. Probably one of the most hated tracks, I would say, by the drivers out on track. But we are here. It's a 5-kilometre circuit. First race around here held in 2008, so this will be the 12th running of the race in real life Formula 1 that will be held this season in the 70th year of Formula 1. 23 corners await the drivers. There are 3 DRS zones, one down the start-finish straight between turns 23 and turn 1. One down what I call the back straight here between turns 5 and 7, that's down towards the end of sector 1, and there's also another DRS straight after the hairpin at turn 13, just off the Emerson Bridge section, down towards turn 14, which will be the right hand, and that's down towards the end of the second sector. A very tight technical circuit this in Singapore. It will push the drivers to the limit. If they don't hit the wall, they'll probably be hitting the curbs, because it is literally it's a death trap, this track. If I've got to describe it myself, it is an absolute death trap. I was trying to improve on my time trial time just before we came live, and trust me, it is so hard to improve lap upon lap around here in Singapore. If I can't do it, doubting that these drivers, well, you never know, we might get the exception rather than the rule here in Singapore tonight. Let's have a look then at the comment section, see how you guys are doing. We have 16 drivers currently within the lobby, which is good to see. As I say, there are a few reserves in. I'll try and bring you up to speed with that as soon as possible. But of course, we are here, as I say, for TTL F1. No Kieran McGinley, as I say, here tonight. Can Toxic get an invite? I do believe the invites have already been given out, but if Toxic can get an invite, that'll be fantastic, because he is wanting an invite. Having a look at everyone, good evening to Storm, good evening to Recon, good evening to Cohen as well, all tuning in to the chat. Hopefully you guys are keeping well, and I'm sure you will get to experience what we're going to experience out on track, and that is some hopefully clean and competitive racing here in TTL F1. Judging by the track though, it is going to be quite a difficult circuit, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few safety cars or a few VSCs certainly here tonight. Well, as I say that, I've just had a look at the settings. Safety car, of course, is off for the remainder of the season, so you can just scrap what I've just said there. Looking then at the standings, as I say, if you're just tuning in, Recon is out in front, and as I say, it's the biggest gap a driver has singly had this season so far. It's 25 points the gap, as I say, so Recon has got it between himself. Let's have a look then at some of the standings then, from as Dill Warren's on 80 points, Cosby in third on 78, and Nevy in fourth on 74. Them four, I think, are going to be the main protagonists here tonight. I wouldn't rule out, though, Carlsper or ILRT Rafa by any stretch of the imagination around here. I think the German, certainly a good driver on his day. He's part of the ILRT team, of course, and Carlsper, after his debut win in Belgium last week, he's got the tail between himself, really between his legs, and he's going to try and extend that form out here to tonight in Singapore, as he is in the Racing Point once again. I see Toxic is into the session, which is good to see. We've got 19 drivers here tonight, better than an FRL attendance, I may say, which is absolutely fantastic stuff. And it comes to show the credit of the talent that we have got here in TTL F1. The 30-second countdown will begin shortly, but if you do have any questions or any comments or anything like that within the comments section on YouTube, do feel free to ask them to either our drivers. I'm sure they'll try and come in, show your support for the drivers, I should say, or if you have any questions for me, well, let's talk about it. I know F1 testing has been going on in real life as well, and I'm sure you guys might want to speak about that in the comment section. Feel free to, of course. 11 viewers tuning in to the stream, which is fantastic stuff. Hopefully we can get that above the double figure mark and above towards 20 viewers. That's what I'm hoping here tonight. But Singapore is just moments away. I'm going to take a quick drink and I'll be back in about 30 seconds. So the countdown has started then for the Singaporean Grand Prix. Of course, 18 minutes worth of qualifying, 50% race. I think it's 31 laps around the race here tonight in Singapore. We'll confirm that though when we get to it. 18 minutes then for the drivers to consolidate a lap time around here, and it is a difficult track at the best of times. Of course, 23 corners, very tight, technical, twisting circuit. This very hard to say if you have had a skinful to drink, which I haven't. I've got lemonade with me tonight, so you're not going to be seeing me drunk on the stream, I'm afraid. Mason Cosby then just waiting on to readying up, just getting their tyres, I think, ready for the race, and then we'll get into qualifying straight away. Of course, do put any predictions that you might have in the comment section as well. As I've said, I wouldn't rule out Rafa, I wouldn't rule out Carlsper. I'll try and make a top three here, but no, my predictions, they're pretty much impossible to predict, and they pretty much fall on their wayside before they even begin. So then, we are here. It's dry, and we've got soft compounder tyres galore for the drivers here tonight, of course. There are 3 compounder tyres available if you are new to Formula 1 or if you're new to TTFL and don't know what the format is as I say, it's 18 minutes qualifying and a 50% race, lasted around 31 laps, so good, near an hour worth of action here in Singapore. And the 3 compounded tyres that are available to the drivers, softs, mediums and hards. As you can see actually with Recon, he's looking like he's going to be going out on a set of hard compound of tyres. That is the hardest of the 3 compounded tyres, given its name. Of course, what the drivers will be looking to do early is just to get a feel of the track, see how the cars are like around the track, see if they need to adjust anything to their setup, and then obviously we'll get some of the action going. It looks like S. Graham is one of the first out on track, as is Spike. So the Spike, I should say, in the Toro Rossos. Of course, Scuderia AlphaTauri going forward in F1 2020 for this season. Spike in the Toro Rosso, the sister team to the Red Bulls, of course, and he's now out on a lap. As you can see, he's just opening up his DRS, making sure everything is working fine, just getting heat into the tyres. Now, a little fact about coming through turn 6 there at the King, if you get too close to the wall, it will actually knock you towards the left-hand side of the track. I hope I see no drivers do that here tonight. If anybody does, then I think we'll probably pick up right side end plate damage. But Spike coming down then to what was formerly the Singapore Sling, which was the chicane, now replaced by the left-hander. I think that was replaced in the early 2010s. Spike then just coming across the Anderson Bridge section now. And this is what the half point really in a lap around here at Singapore. As you can see, there's the track map. Everyone quite spaced out, which is good to see. It is a very difficult track. Drivers may wait until the track just becomes that little bit lighter if anybody does want to wait it out in the pit lane. But Spike then is coming round towards the final sector now. He's just gone through the middle sector, now through the final sector on his outlap. He is the first car out on track. S. Graham is just in behind him out on track in the McLaren. And there's also, looks like, an Alfa Romeo going just ahead of a Racing Point. I can only assume that is Carlsberg going ahead of Vitinho maybe, or Carlsberg, one of the two. But Spike then coming around the final 2 corners, turns 22 and 23. And he's about to start off a lap. Just runs wide of the apex slightly, gets into the camber of the corner nicely, and now starts off on a lap. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres, so don't expect him to light up the timings just yet. Spike then through turns 1 and 2, now through turn 3 and towards turn 4 and 5. This is the little King through turn 4, and now up towards turn 5, which of course is a very difficult corner, and you can invalidate through there. Now through turn 6, and coming down towards the King at turn 6, opens up his DRS, can reach about 195 mile an hour I think down the straight. Yeah, 194 for a minute at 27.1 through the first sector. S. Graham, as I say, is behind him on a lap. Now through the tight and twisting section of sector 2. This difficult left-hander, if you get run the curb slightly, you can be forced out into the wall on the right-hand side. Now down towards the Singapore Sling. The left-hander now pretty much halfway through a lap here at Singapore. 50 seconds gone, another 50 away to the drivers out on track. Spike then just coming across the Anderson Bridge section. This is only turn 13. You can tell by the final sector and the amount of corners that is left how many corners we've actually still got. It's a 104.8 through the middle sector for Spike. Not too bad of a middle sector there on a set of hard compound of tyres. Just running wide of the curb. Now coming through 15, 16 and 17. This is where the 90-degree corners kick in. Left-hander, followed by another left-hander, and underneath the grandstand section as we come. There is the eye just in front of the driver there. Coming through there very nicely indeed. Now under the underpass. Through turns 20 and 21, and now opening up towards the DRS zone once again. Ran the final 2 corners to Spike. He's run out of ERS at the end of his lap, but this is looking like a good lap to begin off with. It's a 38.3. We'll cut to S. Graham and see how he's getting on. There was an Alfa Romeo getting out of the way in the middle sector there. There's yellow flags there. S. Graham now ran the final corner. A set of softs, he's gone second with a 140.5. Let's have a look then. It was Carlsberg, the Alfa Romeo. He invalidated out on his lap. Let's run on board then with the other Toro Rosso, Key, who was just coming around the final corner. As Carlsberg goes quickest with a 36.9, 1.4 seconds ahead of Spike. Key goes third, about 7/10 of his teammate there with a 39 flat. And everyone looking like they're going on a set of hard compound of tyres. King J risking it to go on a set of soft compound of tyres. Might have just invalidated there through the final corner. He has. It would have been a 36.1 and would have put him to the top spot. Vitinho then just coming through. Gort has gone quickest with a 36.4. He's on a set of softs. You will see a lot of improvement from the drivers then out on track. LRT Rafa now in the Red Bull. He is a reserve, of course, joining next season full time. He's just coming into the grandstand section now. He's fastest in the middle sector, so let's see how this adds up. He's on a set of hard compound of tyres, just clipping the wall there on the left hand side through turn 19, now through 20 and 21. as Rafa now comes around the final 2 corners. Looking like a very competitive lap this from Rafa, and a good benchmark there, 37 flat, and he goes just behind Carlsberg by 1/10 of a second, well nearly 1/10 and a half if you're being picky there. Recon is a further 2/10 behind him, just under. So at the minute it looks like Gort has got the early say in terms of pole positions. In terms of the pole position, the provisional pole out on track. We're right on board then with Mashiro in the meantime. The Japanese man has been really making a name for himself in the league in the last couple of weeks, especially in TTSL, where he picked up a very good win last week, of course. And Mashiro will be looking to continue that form from TTSL. I think it was 2 weeks ago, in fact, where he picked up his win. But the Japanese man just coming through the middle sector, to the final sector, I should say, now through the grandstand section, through 17 and 18, now through turn 19 there, now into 20 and 21. Difficult corners, very tight and twisting section here, as I say, through in Singapore. Mashiro about to come around the final corner. I think he'll go 7th with this. He'll go ahead of Cass, just behind him in fact, with a 38.7, and he's about 100th off, so not too bad there on a lap. 14 drivers then. Oh, that is King J round in the final sector. Oh, he's going to have to rejoin in a very safe manner. The Ferrari just comes through, avoids him. King J, and there's Lighty just going through, so King J running out of fuel there and crashing out, not the best thing to do by your only lap. Lighty also into the pit, so it's Gort who has the early say in terms of provisional pole. Carlsberg in 2nd, Rafa in 3rd with Recon in 4th. Toxic has gone 5th in the Renault, and the 137.6, nice lap from him. Carlsberg in 6th with Spike in 7th, Cass in 8th, Mashiro in 9th, and Sean filling out the top 10. Key, Vitinho, Conti and S. Graham all have set laps at this stage. Navy is just on and out lap. Of course, everyone that has came out on a set of hard compound tyres now will probably switch to a set of medium compound tyres, and the tyre wear on this track is around the same levels as other tracks. It is a 5 kilometre length circuit, so the softs around here, if you were to go on a set of softs, probably going to wear out around 4 or 5% definitely per lap. It can be more in extreme cases, as we watch on board with Navy on his out lap at this stage, and we'll take you through a lap on board with him as well. The mediums will probably last around here 3-4%, hards probably around the same, 3-4% as well. Let's ride on board then with Navy, who's coming around the final 2 corners. Let's see what he can do. He's on a set of hard compound tyres, not on the set of soft, as you've seen on the tyre graphic on the left hand side. There was a car just coming out the pit lane ahead of him, and Navy now through turn 1. There's the Gort getting out of the way, respects him, and Navy is through turn 3. Now through towards turn 4 and 5, with the eye right in front of him now. Turns really aggressively and really on the power there through turn 5. Now through the kink at turn 6. Watch out because the wall does come out a little bit. He avoids it completely, and Navy through the first sector to 26.8. It's fastest of anyone through the first sector there for Navy as he comes through the tight and twisting section. There are the skylights above in Singapore, the skyscrapers I should say, above in Singapore. Now through the left-handers through 8 and 9. Now down towards what was the Singapore sling at turn 10. Navy then looking through very nicely indeed. The Dutchman currently sitting 4th in the standings. He's about 4 points off Carlsberg, I think, on 74 points. Navy then down towards the hairpin. Just off the Anderson Bridge section, runs wide through the hairpin. Try to prioritise that run out as Rafa has gone quickest with a 36.3. The German, with about halfway gone in qualifying, has taken provisional pole. 36ers definitely going to improve. If these drivers were going soft, I would predict probably a 34 or a 33 might be on the cards. But Navy now through on a set of hards, just coming through turn 17 there, now through 18 and 19. Difficult, tricky left-hander, very close to the wall there, running on a low fuel mode as well. Saving up quite a bit of ERS towards the end of his lap through 20 and 21. And Navy now coming around the final 2 corners, attacks that curb very nicely indeed, across the line, and he goes 4th, and Spike has retired. That is at turn 1, so I'm not sure what has happened there. There he is on the right hand side of your screen. We'll try and pick up then with somebody that is coming through that section. I'm just trying to figure out who might be coming through that section. Gort has just came through that section. I'll try and pick up on the Mercedes that's coming through. That looks like it is Chaos coming through, and he's coming through, and the car has gone from the right hand side, but it was there on the right hand side, I definitely promise you that. So not sure if there was a failure maybe on Spike's end, or if he just wasn't concentrating. I don't know. Answers on the postcard please for that one. Chaos Land has just started on a lap, and the Irishman, representing Nexus Esports, of course, filling in that Mercedes seat. Jeffrey, of course, was previously in his Mercedes seat, and now Chaos through the first sector. Quickest of all through the first sector. Don't be surprised if he attacks this with the traditional aggressiveness that he normally shows on his laps. Looking very nice. Oh, that back end kicking out there through turn 9 and now down towards turn 10 at the Singapore Sling. Through towards turn 11 and 12, he's completely lost it. He knew it. He's invalidated the lap. And unfortunate for him, that was caught as well on the stream. King J then is on a lap. Lighty is retired. I think that was in the pit lane. He has retired that with 7 minutes to go. It's Rafa who leads. Gort in second, Kalsper in third. Recon fourth, Navy fifth with Toxic in sixth. So Navy's actually gone to P5 there with a 37.2. Toxic in sixth. Cosby 7th, Spike 8th, Cass in 9th, Mashivo in 10th. We'll run on board with King J, then we'll try and pick up on some of your drivers' favourites as Gort has just came across the line to goal, 600ths quicker on a set of soft compounded tyres. You can see really where the pace difference is going to be in all of that. You can tell Rafa just needs to improve a tenth of a second and pretty much put in half effort on a lap to try and go provisional pole at this stage, because Carlsberg's 6 tenths off him. He's just coming around into the final couple of corners now, I do believe. King J just behind him, I think, out on track. One of the racing points is coming through the final corner. Might be Vitinho, actually. No, it is Carlsberg. He's just started off on the lap. King J coming through the final corner, then the Belgian. And he goes up to 8th with a 38.1. So he's only 200th, well, 100th really off Carlsberg, which is not a bad lap at all. Let's ride on board then with the Brit, Carlsberg, who I think is not going to go for any sort of lap here. He might be just wasting fuel, I wonder. Yeah, no DRS open. Yep, this is definitely not Carlsberg's lap at all. We'll ride on board then with somebody else if we can. Vitinho's just came through into 10th with a 38.4. Carlsberg not on a lap. Toxic is not on a lap either. Carlsberg isn't. Let's go back on board then with Chaos, and he's not on a lap either. Oh, yes, he is. He is on a lap. I do apologise. He's getting very close to the wall there. A 104.8, I think, through the middle sector there. Running ERS mode 3 through the middle sector. And the Irishman, oh, clipping the wall on the right-hand side. Maybe not concentrating as much as what he should be. With 5 minutes to go here in qualifying, it's still Gort, Rafa, Carlsberg, your top 3 currently out on track. We'll go on board then with Toxic, and that is a racing point down into the hairpin that has gone straight on. That will rejoin on track. I have a feeling that might have been Vitinho just getting off an outlap, because Carlsberg, I think, is just ahead of him. Chaos then is into the pits. There is Carlsberg. He's just ahead, actually, and he's not on any sort of lap. Let's ride on board then with Toxic. He's coming through the middle sector now. The Haas gets out of the way. That is, of course, King J, the only Haas that is in the session. Lighty is retired from the session. Toxic then coming around the final couple of corners. Who in towards 20 and 21. Under the underpass now. Really attacking this lap, maybe a little bit too much, and he's not happy. He's going to come into the pit lane. So Toxic into the pits. Don't think he was going to improve on his time anyways. It would have looked quite difficult if he tried to do that. Carlsberg then is on a lap through the middle sector, and he can't be 1.1 seconds up coming into through the first sector. He cannot be. 38.1. Well, you never know. It's had a hards to mediums is quick round here, but let's see what Carlsberg is doing then. Carlsberg through the middle sector. He's 2.1 seconds off. This is going to be a lightning quick time from Carlsberg. He now comes through in towards the final sector now. Through towards 15, 16 and 17. Of course, the kink at the right-hand side is turn 15, through 16 and 17. Now underneath the grandstand at 18 and 19. He's really attacking this with a lot of verve and a lot of zest out on track. And the Finn now coming around the final couple of corners now, Carlsberg. And he's looking good on this lap, I've got to say. He will go pole, but what's it going to be? It's going to be in the 34s, I think. He might just sneak it in. It's a 35.3 in the end, but Carlsberg goes to the top by at least a second on Gort. Just under a second on Gort there, Carlsberg. And he's very happy with that lap, the Alfa Romeo man. Mays is on a lap then. And he has been shown a lot of promise in TTSL, picking up a few podiums here and there. Can he revert that into form here in TTL F1? Let's find out. He's through the final corner. Not going to be anywhere near the top, but Mays goes 8th with a 37.7. A very respectable lap there from the Brit. Let's try and ride on board then with the next car that is coming around. That is Key, as Carlsberg has retired on the from the session. That was retired out on track. He's got no chance, I don't think, to get around for another lap. Key across the line, he goes 5th with a 36.7. Top 5 currently separated by just over 4/10 of a second. It's Carlsby, Gorth, Rafa, Kalsper, Key, your current top 5. But if you have money on anyone here tonight, don't waste it, because honestly these times will go down in a flash. S. Graham now through the final corner. He will improve on his time by about 6/10 of a second. S. Graham goes 17th still. Improved on his time, didn't improve his position though. Good lap there though by the Scotsman. Let's try and board them. Rafa is on a lap, the Red Bull man. He'll be the next car to come across the line out on track. Everyone now rejoining on, and 1.1 seconds currently up on his time, Rafa. As I say, you only really need to put in about 75% effort and he'll go to the top of the standings. We should expect the first 34 of the night here, getting very close to the wall there as Rafa now through 18 and 19. Just catches the curb slightly, doesn't want to overrun that curb too much because it can compromise your run there through turn 19 and 20. Little bit of a speed out. Oh, and he's lost it! Rafa has lost it! He was up on his time as well. He can rejoin the car out on track. He's going to have to do a bit of a J-turn. He's going to have to reverse it, I think. I think that might be actually Rafa done for the session. He's going to try and switch it around, and he has. He's managed to do it just before. I think Toxic is coming round. Yeah, Toxic is just coming past him there. Rafa is done for the night then. Key has invalidated on a lap. May's not improving either. Neither's S. Graham. So let's go and board them with Toxic, who was just coming across the line there, down towards turn 1. And the Mercedes of Chaos is in behind him out on track. And it looks like Toxic just took that a little bit too slowly for my liking there. Now through turn 5, looking good, getting very close to the wall. DRS enabled, of course, out in here in qualifying. He now comes through, and I don't think Toxic is happy with it at all. He's 900s up. He's continuing on with his lap for now. Chaos looks like he's catching him actually. He's on a set of soft compound tyres. Toxic, in the meantime, just going quite easily through the middle sector. He's on ERS mode 3, now looking up towards ERS mode 5. ERS mode 4 though is known to be quicker down that section. Toxic then through the Singapore thing and towards the Anderson Bridge section. Very tight, technical, twisting circuit here as he crosses the Anderson Bridge. Beautiful camera angle that. Yellow flags in sector 3. It's just the car slowing down. I think that might be Kalsper on an outlap that is just getting out of the way of a Ferrari, which I think is Cass. Through the middle sector though, Toxic is purple through the middle sector. The snapping of the back end there on that Renault, goodness me, almost like he had suspension damage. Toxic coming through then into 16 and 17, now towards 18 and 19. Of course, watch out for any improvements to the times here out on track. Toxic coming around the final couple of corners then will jump to Chaos in the meantime as well. But Toxic then through the final couple of corners, can he be anywhere near Colesbury? I think his first sector might just have done him in. He'll go second, I think, with this. Toxic around the final corner, yeah, 35.7. He could have easily improved the first sector though. Chaos in behind him goes third as well with a 36.1. Let's have a look then at your improvements. Rafa on a lap, about to come across the line. Not happy with all at that, the German. Recon then up in the middle sector. Nevy towards the end of the lap though, as we're right on board with Kalsper's actually on an out lap still apparently. Navy Gorse has gone 4th. Fatinho, I think, just came across the line to go 9th. Mashiro up to 6th on a set of mediums. Good lap from him, the Japanese man. Watch out for Navy though. 4th in the standings at the minute. Now around the final couple of corners. He's run out of ERS towards the end of his lap. Can he go quicker than Carlsbury across the line? He's just shy by a 10th. Navy second. Carlsbury not improving. That was Sean in the background just going quicker. We've only got a couple of guys out on track. Recon then, the current championship leader, is only down in 12th. He's on a set of mediums. He really needs to find something special in this final sector. Just taking a bit hesitant there through the grandstand section at 18 and 19. Now through 20 and 21, really got to attack this. Doesn't want to attack it too much. Very close to the wall there. Can he jump Carlsbury? Cross the line, Recon leaving it late. He's going to do it. Recon 34.8. What a lap by Recon, and Kalsper goes second behind him with a 35.1. Carlsbury is sitting with his hands quite literally in his knees because Recon has done it again. 3 weeks in a row this has been done, and Recon snatches pole position very late on indeed. He does, honestly. Recon takes it by 2.5 tenths out on track. Quite a comfortable pole position. Kalsper in second with Carlsbury in third. They're rounding up the top 3. Navy in 4th, Toxic in 5th, Gort in 6th, only the top 5 within a second of each other. Gort in 6th, Chaos in 7th, Cass in 8th, Rafa to watch out for in 9th, Mashiro in 10th, then it's Key, Vitinho, Sean, Conti and Mays filling out the top 15, King J, Spike, S. Graham and Lighty not setting any sort of time out on track. But what is going to be telling is the strategies, and we'll come on to the strategies in just a second. I'm going to see how you guys, though, are doing in the comments section. Be prepared, as I say, for nearly an hour's worth of action here tonight in TTL F1 as I hiccup my way through the commentary there. Looking at some of the comments that are coming through then. Storm saying it should be a good battle with some... it should be a good race with some clean battle. I completely agree on that as well. I think the level of talent, as we've seen here in Singapore, even though the guys might be on different tyres and they might be spread out by about 4 seconds, it really comes to show the race is the place where it matters. The race will be the place where it matters out on track. Lighty saying he retired because of a qualifying ban. I didn't notice that in the chat, so that's me going a bit cuckoo with that. So thank you for letting us know anyways. Sophie Johnson coming in saying you got this, Cal. And Callum Calspur saying he had a DRS failure, which is a shame, but he did go second, of course, in qualifying, and that was a very good, respectful lap, only being, I think, 2 or 3 tenths off Recon. The formation lap then has begun out on track, and as you can see, there's a whole load of different colours that we've got to go through in terms of the tyres. So as I said in qualifying, if you are new to Formula 1, if you're tuning in to TTL F1 for the first time, well, good evening first of all. I'm James Head, going to be taking you through the action. Kieran McGinley not here tonight. He will be back next week though, so if you are a fan of Kieran McGinley, you can leave some very nice comments for him in the stream so you can watch it back later on. But as the drivers now just come through the first sector, out on track then, the strategies is what matter. The strategies is what... So, I can't even speak. The strategies is what matters at this stage in the race. We finally got there in the end. There we go. So obviously the top 10, if you are new, they have qualified on their set of compounded tyres. They can't obviously change